And my boyfriend went missing in Thailand for 24 hours. Me and my boyfriend have been together for about a year and a half and went traveling around Thailand. One night we had an argument and he stormed out and never came back to the hotel till 6 p.m. the following day. I had tried to ring and text him but couldn't get through to him as he had no data or a Thailand SIM. He didn't bother to send me a text or message to let me know he was okay or to even check up on me. He didn't care to find Wi-Fi, which he could have easily done as there is Wi-Fi in all bars and restaurants and places around where we was staying, or to even think of me to think that I would be worried. I didn't sleep or eat the whole time. I was out running round the streets looking for him in bars. Was asking places to look at their CCTV footage. Went to the police station and filed a report and to look at street CCTV footage. Was panicking something bad might have happened to him. When he eventually rolls in at about 6 p.m. the next day, the first thing he says to me is, "What's up?" And I said, "Are you messing? I've been worried sick about you." And then all he could say was sorry. His excuse was that we argued and he needed space. When he got back, I saw a girl had followed him on Instagram. He said he had been with two couples all night and that he had stayed over at their place. I asked him to message this girl and he refused to do it cause he says I should just trust in what he is telling me. I don't know whether to believe him and if it's something I should break up with him over. Please give me your opinions. I think whether he cheated or not is almost besides the point. The fact that he took his space for 24 hours and left you worried sick, and then his callous response is a big fat issue though. Yep. Space? Understandable. Space without understanding or basic safety communication in a foreign country? Absolutely not. Whether or not you believe him isn't even the main consideration here. The main thing is he left you alone in an unfamiliar country for a whole day, without checking up on you or having the basic decency of letting you know where he was and whether he was okay. His silence was intentionally punitive and cruel. He happily left you alone so he could spend an evening with strangers, and after spending an evening at their place, still didn't contact you until the following evening even after he had time to cool off post-argument. This is disrespectful and mean, and you should think about whether you want to stay with someone like this. Your boyfriend went out and got himself a lady friend, in an act of petty revenge. I don't know whether to believe him. Absolutely not. And if it's something I should break up with him over? Absolutely. And do not have sex with him. He needs to get tested. Long time ago I learned a lesson to be suspicious whenever a person explicitly throws trust, believe me, at your face. There's a lot that probably had happened that night. You shouldn't decide to leave over the unknown part of it, rather a known one, which is, he knew you will be obviously worried and how that action paints him. He, as a man, has no integrity. A real and decent man would never let other people, especially you, doubt him by his actions. And yes, that type of man is rare, which is why you're dating and breaking up until you find this rare one you will marry. You were wrong that he didn't think you would be worried. He absolutely knew you would and stayed away as long as he did to maximize your worry. It's manipulative bullshit and you should absolutely dump the ashat for it. End it. He is not boyfriend material. Get tested. Who knows what cooties he caught when he cheated. Thailand is known as Adult Disney World. I would put money on it that even he stormed off he met someone for sex. It is so popular and common there. He could have went into any bar and he'd be approached by them. Super cheap prices too. He either met a girl at a club to have sex with or he found a prostitute. I would under no circumstances sleep with this man ever again, as you have to understand you're opening yourself up to sexually transmitted diseases. If you feel like he did something he did, you'll never shake that feeling. I've had one BF stay out all night and I knew him well, so I knew he didn't do anything even if I was worried and pissed off at him. I had another BF do the same thing. My first thought was he was cheating. Turns out he was a serial cheater. Trust your instincts and how well you know your partner. Yes, you should dump him. He knew you'd be worried sick while in the meantime he enjoyed himself with another woman. He's malicious and I wouldn't want to be with someone who runs away after an argument and cheat to feel better. Block his ass and then never look back. Ladies, is it common to require your guy to shower before you will give him a BJ? My partner and I are at odds on my requirement for him to shower before I would consider giving him a BJ. Without the shower I feel much more likely to gag and be grossed out. I am very happy to oblige when he fulfills that requirement, but he feels like it is an unreasonable BJ blocking ask. We've been together for 6 years, so part of it is he wishes to go back to our much more sex-filled and carefree early days when I didn't care so much because we were young and in love. Do other women feel as I do? Or am I atypical for asking for a freshly washed D? Should he accept my rule? It's generally polite that if you want someone's mouth on your genitals, you make your genitals as mouth-friendly as possible. You ask, too. Nothing grosser than catching a whiff of ass stank when you're trying to be all romantic. Honorable mention belly button. Clean that or it smells like rotten ass stank x10 as a nose leveler freshener when someone is going down on you. I had an ex who neglected those parts like a child who never was taught, bless their heart truly, and I never found a way to kindly help or rather often hurt regarding. Filthy ears, who loved ear attention sadly, belly button lint like dust bunnies and frequent footnail fungus. Hygiene should be taught in school but OFC that'd be banned too to save the children somehow. I dated someone who had been married to a very vanilla, missionary-only woman. I opened his mind and he started asking to try things that were new to him. We talked about rimming and I instructed him on how to make sure he was clean enough. The next time we got together, he mentioned that it felt weird to clean that thoroughly. I was shocked, honestly, but his parents were very religious so maybe they never taught him to do it. What? Now I want more details on how you told him to clean it. Lol. Okay. Very basic, really. I just told him to use lots of soap and a washcloth to really make sure that the whole area, especially his asshole, is really clean. It was like 10 years ago, so I don't remember why I decided to give him instructions. I like to be that clean in general. Before I retired I noticed that the guys who didn't wash their hands after number 2 wore suits. I only mention the suits because most guys didn't wear suits. Weird coincidence. That's not weird at all to do. What a weirdo. That's what I thought too. I kept seeing him for a while because otherwise I really liked him. We broke up, but stayed friends and within 6 months he was married. I wasn't in love with him like that, but 6 months seemed fast. Have 2 shower nozzles. One is stationary, the other handheld. Anytime I moved into a new apartment the first thing I did was change the shower nozzles. Change the toilet seat to a bidet. Before bidet I had flushable wet wipes but learned they really are not flushable so I got a bidet. No more wet wipes although the magic duo would be bidet and wipes, I still use TP cause I need to test and see how clean I am. I'm in the process of buying a house and I have already bought bidets for all the bathrooms. I use wipes now, but I don't flush them. They go in the trash, but it's kind of gross just sitting there until I change the bag. Hygiene should be taught at home. People forget parents are a child's first teacher. If you, as a parent, cleaned your child's rear during diaper changes and subsequent toilet training, why would you not teach the child to clean all parts of their body? Teachers have enough to contend with, and teaching hygiene shouldn't be one of them. Some of us had really crappy, NPI, parents. I figured all this stuff out by high school or so, but I was totally on my own. My father was the best teacher for all things, including hygiene, but sadly not all children are blessed with intelligent nor capable nor available caregiving. Not to mention special needs issues considering. Hard agree teachers' plates are overfull and woefully underpaid. But hygiene is a public health issue that needs systemic addressing beyond the personal. If I could wave a magic wand, initial responsibility should fall under medical care, but in the States we know that's a joke too, as for more there. Just how nurses make sure a baby can latch to feed before leaving the hospital, so too should be taught on hygiene. I'm sure religious freedoms might conflict here somewhere. We just had years of a global wake-up call to the collective blind spots. Social media exposed early pandemic how poorly folks cared for themselves. Basic hand washing and bathing. Honestly, hard agree that this should fall under the umbrella of how parents teach their children, but as a counterpoint, most American schools include a health class as part of the required curriculum around 8 to 10 years old, around the start of middle school age, appropriate to the stage where kids start focusing on developing independence, and again at the start of high school, which generally coincides with the start of puberty. In a classroom setting as part of a set curriculum, it's totally reasonable to have these basics taught, especially since personal health and hygiene has effects on others in close quarters. And not every kid is fortunate enough to have parents who are involved enough or competent enough to teach these basic skills to children. It's good to have the boring bluff class that teaches everyone these basics in a structured way. Hard agree that teachers shouldn't be put in a position to need to teach basic hygiene one-to-one and outside of that structure. Used to be a part of health class a long time ago. I don't think they even have health classes in school anymore. Graduated in 2018, took health class 3 times, once in each school. That's a relief. Did they cover hygiene? I was in school last century and don't recall all. Particularly in elementary. The care and keeping of you was also handed out. And the guy version. 8th grade health focused a bit more on the basics of health and nutrition, and was like a bridge between hygiene and sex. And then 10th grade focused more on STDs and how effective different forms of contraceptives are and such. For anyone wondering, I'm in Utah. I always wash it in the shower, but sometimes I get in there with a tip and some rubbing alcohol just for fun. Please, don't do that. It's completely unnecessary, and it can damage the tissues and be easily absorbed into your body. A Q-tip is questionable. Just be careful and consider using a mild soap. Up your NTA, it's a simple courtesy to clean yourself for your partner before engaging in intimate activities. You're not even telling him that you won't give oral sex. You're just asking him to please take a shower before you put your mouth near his genitals and your nose near his anus. My ex was like this. He didn't wash his hands after he urinated, and he probably frequently didn't do so after he moved his bowels. He didn't groom his pubic hair. Yet, he was obsessed with oral and anal play sex. No one wants a mouthful of pubic hair with their nose stuck in a stinky while trying to pleasure their partner's stinky, dirty genitals. Needless to say, he got very little oral. I never got any. He was a selfish lover in person. He knew how I felt about oral and anal sex. I made it abundantly clear at the beginning of our relationship, and it wasn't all that long before we married. The agreement was that I would marry him. But those acts were not to be a part of our marriage. To put this in some context, he was a pastor in a very conservative, fundamentalist Christian denomination. These things were against our religion. He was a major hypocrite. How about dancing with your wife? Scandalous and against our religion. So, aberrant, sinful, homosexual. Acts he pressured for or worse in the bedroom while also needing to freshen up was fine, but dancing. He was my only sexual partner. This left me questioning my sexuality. I was told that since I didn't like doing these things, having sex or giving oral, then I must like women. Possible. Very possible. But it occurred to me that my problem perhaps had more to do with the person and their dirty genitals. My apologies. I got way too verbose. This is a big deal. It's terribly inconsiderate and shows a complete disregard for you. You aren't asking much. Wow, please write that tell-all book now. You've got the start of a good memoir. I don't think rubbing alcohol is the ideal skin cleanser if you aren't preparing an injection site or something. Your belly button must be like the Sahara. More folks need to start using bidets or portable bidets.